Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Invin and today I'm going to be bringing you guys a video on the best money makers for all players in New World. Now I'm going to do some of these things. Literally you could be level 0 and make money off these things. Some of them are going to be higher level stuff as well, but depending on kind of what skills you've got. But there is going to be something for every single player who plays the game in today's video. Even if all of them don't apply to you, the majority of these will. And I'm going to put time cards in the description down below, so if you want to skip ahead to certain points that you've got levels in furnishing or you've got levels in crafting skills, and if I've put anything about those skills, you can check just along the bottom of the video or in the description and skip to those parts if you do want to. But make sure you stick around for this first part as well, because this is going to be globally to every single player, these first few, and it's very easy ways to make some good money. So what I'm going to be doing in this video, I'm aware that each market on each server will be, slightly different, but what I'm going to be doing here is going over what my market is like on my server, so you guys can kind of get an insight into this and see just how good some of this stuff actually is. So first things first here, let's go into the marketplace itself, and these are going to be very accessible items. Let's start off with something like Flint. Now you might think this is a very obvious thing to put in, but if we put the prices lowest to highest, 0.33 per one, which is more than crafted items, more than potions, more than most stuff. If you look at something like the health potions, albeit these are the weak ones, these are 0.01 each, which is terrible. So Flint here right now for me at Everfall, which is kind of like one of the biggest trading places next to Windswood, on our map is selling for 0.33, which I think is a ridiculously good steal. And to be honest, if I wanted to bump this up easily, I could buy out all of the ones all the way up to pretty much 0.4 and resell all of these and make a decent bit of profit. So it's pretty much accessible to everybody. Always pick up your Flint on the way around. Let's just show you all the rest of the settlements as well, because this is something which not a lot of people believe in, but it actually depends where you are. So Weaver's Fen, you're getting a pretty bad deal. Monarch's Bluff, you're starting at 0.26, and that's got even cheaper tax than here in Everfall, so that's going to be a big profit. Then Windswood's cheapest one, which again is at the minimum tax, is actually at 0.3. So by the time you've bought the 3.3 one here, you're going to be at the same profit just about as you would from selling it at 0.3 in Windswood. Cutlass Keys, your cheapest, is at 0.32. Everfall, we see 0.33. First Light, 0.36, and so on and so forth. So Flint, very accessible, very easy. Everybody can get it. You literally don't even need tools, and it sells for a decent amount of money. So picking up this for 20 minutes a day, you could easily make 1,000 to 2,000 gold. The next thing here is going to be green wood. Now this one sounds silly. Again, it's not as expensive as the Flint, but the amount you get per tree makes this very worth it. Now obviously, it is very good when you are crafting. So if you're going to be doing a lot of crafting, it is certainly worth keeping. But as you guys can see here in Everfall, 0.11 per, and this is because Everfall's got quite a lot of trees nearby. You can get a lot of green wood very easily. Same with Windswood, but Windswood's 0.16, and again, they have lower tax there on my server, so it'd be more worth going over there, I personally think, but this is still a very good profit margin from this one. You've then also got First Light. This is 0.18. Going on to the next page before we hit Brightwood, which is 0.21, and imagine you're getting between 5 and 7 wood per tree, maybe even more than that. Maybe you're getting 15 or so per tree. You're going to get a lot of money very quickly. You only need 5 to make a single gold, and you're going to be getting that minimum per tree. So again, doing 100, 200 trees a day is an extra 200-300 gold very easily. So you might as well do it. You might as well get on with it. And a lot of times, if you have been doing the faction token farming in Great Cleave, you'll probably have a ton of wood just sat in that storage over there. So bring it down to one of these cities, get it sold, and get some money made off it, especially if you're not going to be using it for crafting. Now, following on from the same vein as this, iron ore. Now this one again is back up to 0.3, so you might think that the Flint is a better option, but again, you do get several drops from one node. You're going to be getting 20-30 iron ore from one single mined node, depending obviously on the size of it. But these are very good way to make money. As you can see here in Everfall, we've got these at 0.3, and again, this is because it's one of the better mining locations, heavily populated on my server. But if we go down here, let's have a look for somewhere else. Brightwood is starting at 0.35, and let's see what Monarch's Bluff, 0.4. Windswood, which again, lower trading taxes, so that's why I keep bringing up Windswood, because on my server it's got the lowest taxes for trading, 0.42 per. So again, doing 20 minutes of this, you're going to be making yourself 2,000-3,000, maybe even more gold per day, and that's just selling raw resources. So it's up to you if you want to sell them or use them for crafting, but if you're looking to make pure money, it's a very good way, and again, accessible to everybody as soon as you've got yourself any pickaxe in the game. Now another funny one is going to be potions. So obviously we can have a look here. Let's say like health potions. Now some of these, like the commons, are selling for just a few gold each, 0.5, 1.5. You know, it depends kind of where you are. Let's just bring this back and change it off all settlements to Everfall only, so you guys can see these are actually starting at 250, so you can make a decent bit of profit of these, and they're not too hard to make at the Arcana station. If we look at powerful potions, they're actually selling for 850 per. And again, if we go on to the all, just so you guys can see kind of what's going on across the board, Cutlass Keys are at 4, Windsward again a little bit cheaper, Weaver's Fen are at 5, then we're going into First Light, we're at 5 as well. Cutlass Keys, you're at 5.99, so essentially 6. Everfall, you're at 8.5 for the lowest, cheapest one there. Braitwood, you're at nearly 10 per, and these are pretty accessible to get, particularly with the materials they do cost. They're quite hard to make, but what you can do is farm places like Scorpius, which again I've made a video on the channel on the best elite zone to farm for the mid game. So if you guys do want to check that out, find out how to farm Scorpius effectively, there's a video on that which should be linked on screen for you guys now, and that one tells you how you can farm this area effectively. That drops a ton of powerful potions, and these can either be used, obviously if you're even at level 60 they do give a good chunk of health back, but of course if you want to make some money, you can make a few gold per one of these, and you can easily get 40 to 50 an hour at Scorpius if you are doing it very, very quickly and looping around and doing all of the bosses and stuff as well. With the chest refills, you can make a lot of these potions and sell them for a very decent amount of profit. If we look at something like the infused health pot, again, this one is starting at 250 in Braitwood, so you probably wouldn't want to go there for it. But if we are coming down all the way down here, let's have a look at Everfall, for example, where I currently am, and the cheapest one in Everfall is going to be 30 gold per infused potion. Now, these ones, you might think, again, it's weird, but as you can see on my hotbar just to the side there, I've got 59 of these, and I did a war yesterday, so I was using a lot of them. Basically, this is from any level 60 plus elite zone, you'll get these drops, so again, this is kind of more of an end game thing, or if you've got high level crafting in Arcana, but they are going to be very, very good, and they do sell for a lot of money, so you can't go wrong once you do actually get there. If we have a look how to craft them, you do need 150 levels, but it is just going to be Azoth Water, Petal Caps, which you can probably buy cheap on your server, same with Bumble Blossom, or they are fairly easy to collect as you're going around the world. Particularly Windsward is good for these two things, and Braitwood for the Bumble Blossoms there as well. And then pairing that with water. Now, Azoth Water is very easy to get and often very, very cheap as well. You can buy this for maybe between 2 and 3 gold. Same with the Petal Caps, they're going to be around 0.5, Bumble Blossom 0.3-ish. So basically, below 5 gold for the entire thing, and you're going to net around 15 to 20 even at the lowest places. If I made it here in Everfall, again, like I showed you guys on the chart, that would be up to 30 gold per one, which is about a 25 gold profit per one you're crafting, and you're getting a lot of crafting XP in Arcana, so it's a win-win situation. Although unfortunately I don't have the level for this yet, so that is something that I personally am going to have to work on. Now, another really, really good one, again depending on the server, can be actually bags. And looking at these here, you can sell the low level bags, so the first ones which require 0 levels, so anybody can make these in the entire game. And these just cost you 45 coarse leather, 25 linen, and then a metal. Recommend you don't put in Fate Iron, because that will be obviously a higher rare resource, but put it in something like iron will do absolutely fine. You need 10 iron ingots, and then you need the minor rune of holding. Again, with the rugged ones, these are level 50 in armoring, so if you're doing those armoring townboard quests, you should get up there pretty quickly. And these ones again require 45 rugged leather, they can be 25 satin and 10 steel. With the coarse ones as well, don't forget it's coarse leather, not rugged, so it's a lot easier. And then these ones require the major rune of holding. Now, the way that these will make you money is, of course, if you are selling them for more than the material, so if you're gathering themselves or what you can buy them for, and of course the rune of holding. So don't forget 250 for that first one, that minor one if you're making the first level bags, and 500 for the second one. So if we have a look here at satchels, if we look at the coarse leather satchel, this one is currently selling for 550 per, so this would actually get you a decent bit of money. If we then look at the rugged leather one, which is the tier 3 one, these are actually selling for 890, which again is a decent amount of money, especially when the minor or the major rule of holding, sorry, is 500 gold, so you're making about a 300 gold profit if you are buying those. But bear in mind, they do cost faction tokens. Now, one thing that you might want to do is buy them off the auction house, because for some reason people buy them and put them on there, and they're very, very cheap, so you can go ahead and buy them on there as well, and it doesn't cost you faction tokens, so it could be a good way to make a bit of money there as well. And obviously the lower ones there are just 250 gold with 1000 1,000, and they were selling for about 550 here on my server. So again, you're making about double your gold back just off doing these, particularly if you gather the materials yourself. If you don't, maybe you're only making 250 gold, but again, still a very big profit if you just churn out a few of these, get some good lucky rolls on, maybe putting a little bit of Azov if you've got up there with a big amount, and you can make a fairly decent bit of gold off all of these things, which is very, very nice. So for comparison, on my server, it costs 500 gold to buy the major runes of holding from the vendor, with of course 3,000 faction tokens. If you are running low on faction tokens, as you can see here, they are up there. It is still cheap. It does cost more than the actual faction one, of course, but this is without the tokens. So if you've got more gold and you want to just buy into the bags, then you can, but be aware that these bags, these satchels, so it was the tier 3 ones that they are for, are actually not then worth it, because you're only making a very slight amount of profit off that, which is probably not the best idea. You want to try and farm up these faction tokens if you possibly can, as that's going to get you the maximized profit. Now, housing storage chests are going to be a huge one here. If you actually get your furnishing level up, these are going to be great to sell. As you can see, 1.1 as a minimum there, and again, it takes the major rune of holding to make these, so you will actually have to spend 500 gold and 3,000 tokens up front. And then obviously the materials, which is steel and some lumber, but you can make these fairly easily. You need level 85 in furnishing, which is the biggest grind part of it, but also you could buy these and flip them. So you could buy this one if the tax was a little bit lower than it is currently here in Everfall. I would buy this one up, relist it for maybe 1,390, and that would be just undercutting this next one, but I would still make about 150 gold profit again. So you can always flip these up, and people will always buy things like this, particularly the higher level ones, when people get to start making those as well, because it does increase your storage a settlement, which pretty much everybody in the game will want. So when people start getting money putting houses down on your server, get on top of these chests. It is going to make you a lot of money. Now, throughout your adventures in Eternal, you'll probably pick up a ton of rare, legendary, and epic different crafting reagents or equipment or types of different things, such as the Fey Iron here. That's even only an uncommon. But things like when you get Blister Weave, or you get any of this Glint Strands or Scale Cord, anything like this where it's a high level rare resource for some form of crafting, these will all sell pretty nicely money wise. So if we look at Blister Weave on the auction house quickly, I currently have 6 of those, and the cheapest option here right now is 145, so that's nearly 1,000 gold just off those that I've picked up from going around questing. Particularly if you're not going to get that skill to max level anytime soon, or you don't have any company crafters or friends that are doing it, it certainly might be worth selling to get yourself a nice little boost in cash in between doing all of your runs in the elite zones and other quests that you're doing around different areas. Now, another major thing that's going to get you a decent bit of money is the Rabbit's Foot. Now, currently these are going for 110 in Everfall, but these are very, very accessible. Every single person can get these as soon as they get a scheming knife. It is just luck of the draw with these. So if we have a look through, you can get these for around about 100 as the cheapest one, but in some places, Windswood 119 is the cheapest, Brightwood 178. If we go to the next page and look at Cutlass Keys, 299. First Light, we're looking at 345. So it just, again, depends where you want to go to sell these, but these are going to be used in the Luck Trophies, which is arguably the best trophy in the game. So these are always going to be something that people do buy up. So if you do manage to get some, you're going to make a couple hundred gold minimum off it, like 110 here just for one if you did want to sell it. And of course, these should probably go up in price as the game goes on, as more people can craft trophies, more people click onto them being very good. These will probably increase and might even be more on your own server. Another thing is going to be if you do get up high level stone cutting and jewelry crafting, you can make a ton of money off actually selling the jewelry, as you'll see here, if we can actually find any that is pristine that's on the marketplace. And on my server right now, it seems like there isn't really even anybody selling these things, so it's going to be quite expensive. There is a couple in Windswood here selling for 800 gold and 850 as a minimum, and they are the only ones on the server, and that's a pristine ruby amulet. So if you do manage to get up there, these are going to be very, very good. Now, another thing to look at here as well is the actual gems themselves. So if you look at, maybe let's say let's get a ruby so we can compare this. So a pristine ruby right here, these sell for 50 per. If you are able to cut it, this then drags the price up by 118 profit as a minimum, just by being able to cut this gem, and then obviously being able to craft it into jewelry, maybe add on another 40 to 50 gold's worth of materials. You're still going to be making a 600 gold profit per one that you craft anywhere on my server currently. So check the prices on your server, but again, it might be worth trying to boost yourself with the help of some friends, or just by going absolutely ham on the gathering and crafting to get your jewelry crafting up there, because you're going to make a ton of money off doing this. This one isn't as accessible to everybody because it does take a long time, but it is a very, very good one to make a lot of money on very, very quickly, or at least cutting the gems. And this works on the smaller scale stuff too. So brilliant rubies you can pick up for 10, 15, 16-ish gold a piece, and a cut brilliant ruby will get you a pretty much a profit anywhere, but maybe this 115 one, you could buy those up, and then you'd be getting a 6-7 gold profit off each. So you weigh up whether it's worth the most or not. But if you are able to get somewhere where you can sell these pretty more expensively, because obviously these are all at Windswood right now, but maybe if you came to Everfall with a cut one and made it at Windswood where the crafting is cheaper, you'd be able to sell this for a big profit margin, almost 60-70 gold. Obviously this isn't as much as the tier 5s, but it is still a very decent way to make money if you do manage to get up to that level in jewel crafting and stone cutting as well. Fishing is going to be one of the things that not a lot of us like to do, including myself. I don't do this very, very often, but it's a great way to make money. If you look on the marketplace for firm fish fillets, because they are needed for most of the quests, you're going to be making 0.59 as a minimum here in First Light, 0.97 as a minimum in Windswood. If we go all the way down to Everfall where I am, 1.25 per, and you can get a lot of these in a good session of fishing by just, doing the actual fishing itself, salvaging the fish, and you can get quite a lot of these firm fish fillets, regular ones, fish oil, all that good stuff. And generally all of the fishing stuff will be a few gold each, because people are lazy with it and they're needed for a lot of town board quests. So you can make a nice bit of profit. Yes, it's going to be less grand than some of the stuff that requires more, or maybe even just picking up Flint, as that does seem to be one of the most profitable things on my server. But it's certainly worth checking the prices, because if fishing ingredients is high, I know a lot of my company members have been making 3,000 to 4,000 a day off just a couple of hours of fishing, just by sitting AFK and watching YouTube or whatever else they're doing, doing some fishing alongside it, kind of listening to a video and doing a bit of fishing. Very, very chilled out activity, and they can make 5,000-6,000 upwards gold if they do that for an hour or two. So it's very, very good method, and something which again all players can get involved with. So hopefully you guys have found this video useful and informative. These are my best tips, tricks, like little cheeky methods and ways that you can actually make some gold here in New World. So check the prices on your servers, make sure that they're correct, and kind of weigh up the options, because obviously it'll be slightly different for each person, but generally these should be good. So hopefully they do help you to make some money. If you've enjoyed today's video, make sure you leave a like on it down below, and if you are new here to the channel, please do drop a subscribe. I upload every single day, so it'd be great to have you here as part of the channel community. Other than that, guys, as always, thank you very much for watching. Take care and peace.